What's up? What's up? Welcome to the show. Welcome to season 4 of Never Stop Learning. I'm excited to be here with you all. If you don't know, you can now check out the podcast on YouTube. Hello, beautiful friends. Today's episode 89, episode 1 of season 4. Today, we talk to my new friend, Ginger Sherry. She is an entrepreneur, social media guru. I don't really like the word guru. Social media connoisseur. Maybe not connoisseur. Social media influencer and business executive, business woman. And she's out here helping other people to do the exact same, figure out exactly how powerful we are, how we have talents, ideas, creativity, projects, skills that we can help others learn, that we can bring to the pleasure of the world, bring for the pleasure of the world. And so, today Ginger and I talk about social media, how she got into the whole social media, stepping into the business side of things, how fucked the education system is. I mean, we hammer that one home on the regular, and just a little bit of getting to know each other. So hope you enjoy the whole new vibe. I hope you enjoy your day today. Happy days, happy life, much love. Let's get into it. We're gonna start off with a freestyle called Let's Go. See you on the other side. Oh. This is one of my favorite ones, guys. You guys ready? We know what will last in our hearts. We know, yes we know. We have so many stories ripping us apart, telling us how to feel. I don't know if I put out art that's really good, but I know that this is where I start. And I feel afraid that I'm making too many mistakes. That's the thing about life right now, is that my fear of failure has been stifling my spirit for so many years. And now I'm just tired of submitting to my ego, telling me to shut up and sit down. Damn. Free me from something weird that's not aligned with me. Free me from my fear. I'm feeling holy. I fall asleep at night, wishing I'd done some other things with my day. But I know tonight I'm no longer living my life, wishing that I'd done it a different way. I know a lot of times it's really frightening when we find that we're not in a position that makes us feel happy. And so it can feel panic in our hearts and minds, and fear that if we take a leap and take a step towards different shit, that it means that we could possibly fall flat. We could possibly end up back in our parents' basements. Fuck that. Maybe I should stay at the bum-ass job that I hate. Maybe I should never even date. Maybe I should never even try. Oh well, come on, let's go get high. Oh well, this is my fucking life. Fuck me. Maybe I should have tried when I was 14 or 16 or 18 or 23. Just look at me. We are more powerful. Age doesn't even exist for me, cause I know that I'm not behind. I'm learning to find my flow. So let's take it slow. Let's do it right. Let's take our time. Let's not have fear, but let's notice fear, and let's not adhere to the old bounds that fear makes, that caution tape we step through. Make no mistake, it's not easy, bro. bro, but I got your back and you got mine. Now let's fucking go. Let's fucking go. Let's fucking go, dude. You ready?
Go.
We're live.
What's up?
What is
up? This is awesome. I found you from your TikTok video. And as people who listen to my podcast know, TikTok has really changed my life starting in the pandemic, really. And I'm interested to talk about this, and this should get the ball rolling. But it like really opened up channels for, I think, for a lot of us to step outside of just the small internet circles that we were just finding ourselves in from when we're all growing up with the internet, and just being like, it's easy to be steeped in just what you've seen, and and so TikTok allowed me and allows us to just like randomly find each other, and it has like helped me to be like, people all are talking about these cool messages. There's just like, there's like all of us understanding what power we have to talk about our experience. And I think that's just like, we're like, oh my God, that feels clear. Like Ginger on my phone, real person. And it's just like, yeah, I'm glad I just felt like I wanted to reach out to you, because then I'm like,
there's a whole nother world that
here
opens.
we are.
Yeah.
And like, you're doing your whole thing, and like, we all have our own worlds. And so I'm happy to see yours through my screen right now. Tell me a little bit about, I mean, we don't have to stay on TikTok, but yeah, how have you been?
Like just the social media realm, I feel like.
And also like, I think also like starting to, I think we're both kind of finding our voices, figuring out like, what type of things can we say, conversations can we have that are going to help people out here.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. There's so many conversations. Well, first, my name is Ginger. I'm 23. I'm about to turn 24. I live in New York. I went to college. I have a fucking useless degree that I don't use.
Amen. Amen.
So many people have that.
Real quick, I want to just interject, because that's kind of at the core of my podcast. Because bullshit degree, chronic not giving a fuck about school, but just never actually quite hitting the point where I realized I shouldn't have been there.
Me too. Oh my God. I definitely didn't realize until I was out more.
Oh my gosh, same.
Like, especially because I was like, so I'm a freelancer, entrepreneur, business owner. So like, whenever I talk about my business, I'm like, by the way, I didn't learn any of this shit in college. Like, you know what I mean? Like, a lot of the things that I've learned online from other people, just from research, just by doing. And it genuinely made me realize that like college is a scam. Like, it's pretty much the biggest scam that we have in America, because I mean, obviously there are expectations to this, and as far as like medical and like real things.
You always have to give that caveat, right?
Yeah.
But I just think that doesn't apply to the experience that I think so many of us had with it, where it was just kind of like this cloudy, foggy idea about success and my future, and the pushing into it, because it's like, if I didn't know, as I think probably is the same for you, I didn't know what I wanted to be looking at. And so the only thing, time is ticking. I'm 18. It's like, oh my God, that's like baby status even.
Yeah, literally.
And it's just like, we can, and I'm really here, like, never stop learning. It's like, let's actually figure out what we love to learn. And it's like, that's not an energy, unfortunately, that I got, or I was able to access in my lifelong decades of educational, institutional, becoming a student as my identity. I'm only a learner, right?
Mm-hmm.
I really
Mm-hmm.
think that affects us in this, like, we want to graduate to then be able to not just be a student, to be able to feel like we are knowledgeable. And
Mm-hmm.
it almost is like keeping us in this kind of infantile mindset of being like, I'm just a sponge to soak up the adult's wisdom.
Yeah, yeah. And also too, like, even with that, like, when you go to school and you do all this shit and you're still considered, like, not an expert. Like, you're still considered young and, like, not knowledgeable enough anyway, so it's like, what the fuck is the point? But yeah, I was literally just talking about this because, you know, there's so many things about college. We can go fucking deep into this, but one of the first things I always hated was, like, prereq classes. You go to college and you have to learn the exact same shit that you just learned in high school. And and also too, like, I don't get why we don't emphasize gap years more, because I wish that I had like a year to like chill and like figure it out. Like actually genuinely think about what I wanted to do, maybe enjoy myself a little
Dude,
bit more,
I
you
just
know?
like, if the culture, or like this, the trend or the energy was that,
The energy is so off
it
with
would
it. It's
take out so much of the profit engine and the debt
exactly.
engine, because it's like, you can't, I mean, this is like this is like the capitalist
Yes.
old
Peak.
institutions of us just being like, of the way that it's like the grid, right? Like,
Mhm.
I heard this on a podcast a few days ago. Like, sometimes you're driving by a big building and you can't tell if it's a prison or a high school.
Literally.
And it's just like,
Yes.
yeah, it's like the same
It's the same
big
setup though.
structures
What's the
are
difference?
like, we can't let them breathe. We can't give these young people an opportunity to step out from under the weight of
Mhm.
educational expectation, and, like, I don't know, probably like poverty shaming
Uh-huh.
all of like the people who are just like, well, I'm smart and my parents, right? Like, I don't want
Mhm.
to be poor. And it's like seeding us with this fear of this thing, this engine of all of us going to college, which is
Mhm.
helping keep us all poor, dude.
Literally.
Oh, man.
I can't see all of the college debt being paid. Like there is literally no way that we're all going to pay that shit back. Because honestly, like first of all, I don't know why they thought it was okay to just have a bunch of 18-year-olds running around with like 20 plus $1,000 in debt right off rip. Right off rip. They were like, let's fuck all these kids over. Pretty much. And it's honestly really sad. And also too, I was really talking about this earlier because I realized that I don't know, I was talking about because there's a different level of like smart and like being school smart and being like like smart, I guess, you know what I mean? Because you can be really good at school, but
I
actually
mean,
be smart and be bad at school too, you
here's the
know?
thing,
Like
is like, what is the smartness of school? Like 70%
it's
obedience.
memorization. Yeah,
And
memorization and
obedience,
obedience.
like, that is like programming. That is literally programming. Fucking
Yes.
obey the people in charge your whole fucking life, and that's what we
Mhm.
want you to do, because, like, and it even, this is a big thing I've been talking about in kind of, if we step away from school a little bit, because it's just such a played out conversation, and the
Yeah.
world is so much bigger than that. But
Uh,
just kind of like being able to see how, like, that framework of my own idea of my identity was like, everything was like put, like, I didn't even realize that was an aspect of my life. Like, it was like
mhm.
hidden from us. I mean, alongside with so much other like actual knowledge, like human knowledge, like, what are we capable of?
What do you feel like like is deciding or like defining factor between someone who's like spiritually aware and like not? You know what I mean? Because there's like that. I feel like there's a lot of people in my life that
Mhm.
don't don't like think about these things the way that we do. You know what I mean? Like I feel like and like I also feel like my spiritual awakening happened like within the last like 3 years. Like, you know, kind of like when COVID started. And some people started
Sure.
before that and some people started after. but even still, I don't even know what was really like the click, like what really clicked in me that really made shit look differently. I don't know if it was more of like like realizing my subconscious mind, like that kind of aspect, or realizing how fucked up society is. Like there's so many things that like can make you think like, huh, like what the fuck is all this? You know what I mean? Also, The Matrix. I watched that shit the other day, and now like I can't focus on anything
Okay,
anymore.
so it's fresh on your mind. I
Mm.
actually did a freestyle and I dropped this line in a few weeks ago. Where do you remember the scene with the woman in the red dress?
Mm-hmm.
Like, bruh, when I'm and I haven't watched the movie in a while, but like isolating that idea of like
Distraction.
it's like your mind is going to go watch that woman in the red dress walk by.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like now we're like starting, I think, to live in a world now where there are people and bigger now entities, which is so weird to talk about corporations or like bigger shit that are
Right.
manufacturing experiences like that for us because they know we'll watch and we are going to say yep. And when we say yep, we're like, I mean, it's like data mining, all this shit. I don't know
I
any of
know. I
that.
don't even
But
know.
when I
Yeah.
look at the Matrix, it really is like like it's going to take effort for us to be living outside of that paradigm. Like every day,
Dude.
I feel like, because it's so easy to click back in. It's so easy for me to build up my life to have the red dress on every table I walk by in my apartment. And like it's in my phone all the time. And so,
Yeah.
yeah. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I'm like, because to me, like, and I've only seen the movie once, so I definitely like want to watch it again
Whoa,
because I feel
cool.
like, yeah, like it was literally my first time watching it. I was like,
Damn, that's sick.
I was like, this is fucking me up, yo. And because I think it was really the idea of just like, how would we really decide if like this is not a fucking video game? Like, there's no real like, I don't know. I just feel
It's
like we
like
wouldn't really
because
know.
it literally is like our sensory perceptions experiencing
Exactly.
reality. Thinking about our understanding of technology, it's like this could all
Just be rendered
just
like
be
in our.
rendered, like could be the graphics, most high definition graphics, which they wouldn't even need to be because our perception is within the graphic world, right? So
I
it's like it's not
know.
even like
Yeah.
us looking at a screen of our life, it's us being the screen experiencing it, right? It's so
Mhm.
weird.
Yeah, and also
But
too, like, me and my boyfriend were just saying this, like, your like, is your subconscious mind, like, the voice in your head, like, whatever, is that, like, the person, like, playing the game? Like, you know what I mean? Like, we literally have no fucking clue, and one of the biggest mysteries in, like, I guess, on Earth, I feel like, is what consciousness is. Like, we can't even really understand how it even works. Like, and I wish I was honestly a little more, like, techie or like sciencey. Like I wish I was into more of that stuff because I would love to like actually understand the brain and like study it because it's so interesting. Like I love thinking about like how much is our memory? Like, you know what I mean? Like our storage. Like, do we have like a limit to how much we can
mhm.
know and understand, you know?
I
Like,
mean, again, I think it's like because of the technology that we've created, we can't help but use that as the metaphor to try to understand our own brain. It's like
mhm,
our brain, it needs a hard drive, and it's like it's so much more like
so complex.
ethereal than that. Like
Mhm.
we can't try to pin it down, you know. It's like the whole thing of like we'll never be able to like say this is the state of an electron. I mean, it's
Mm.
mind-boggling that we can even try to like look at that building block of life that small. But it's like, okay, at the same time, like
What are
when,
we?
yeah, like what am I? Well, okay, here's what I have written down. And I really want to talk to you
Oh,
about
limiting
this
beliefs. Okay.
because I think that's, part of what we're talking about with school and with all of our old shit and with like even this idea of, I use this example all the time. Like my last semester of college, I'm standing next to my buddy and we're watching these like techies like do the lighting for like the show in the auditorium. And he's like, man, if I could do it all over again, I'd be a techie. And I'm like, dude, we're 21.
What do you mean?
Do it all over again?
Yeah.
But it was this idea of like, well, we're about to graduate college. So man, I majored in the wrong thing. It's like this idea of like, the belief is I graduate and then I'm always moving. So the track I choose becomes the type of railroad car I am. And it becomes that limiting. It becomes when I'm 18, I decide what kind of railroad tracks do I like to drive on. And then you kind of think, and everyone tells you, build it like this, and then you'll be able to retire happily. Like, and it really is like, wait, what the fuck? I'm like going into this thing fantasizing about my 401k down the line
that I get
and
in
it's
like 50 years. Like,
and so, you know, I have a lot of buddies from my college who like studied to become choral directors. And in the same way of like, you need to study some shit to be a doctor or to become an engineer or to become a choral conductor. Like there's skills, dude. And so my thing now, like with this podcast and me being like, okay, I can choose now to skill build.
Yes.
It felt like I've had this idea that I missed my opportunity.
Yeah. It's false.
And so tell me, I want to hear from you because it feels like part of what you are helping and planning to help people with is addressing these limiting beliefs and just like seeding the confidence that we already have that we think has been stolen from us by everyone around us for so long. Go.
Yes. Yeah. So, so definitely limiting beliefs is one of the biggest things of, you know, going off and working for yourself, starting a business, you know, working for yourself, whatever. That's like one of the first things that comes up and will stop people in their tracks because they will hear that limiting belief where it's like, you don't know what the fuck you're doing. Or like, you know, do you really think you're capable of this? And that's like your subconscious mind as well. Kind of like your ego in a way of like telling you that you are not this, you're not that. And, you know, I really think too that when you go through this like entrepreneurship road, there's an inevitable spiritual awakening that you have to go through where you have to let go of that shit. Because if you don't, you're not going to get that far. And definitely like limiting beliefs in general, there's so many limiting beliefs around working, how your career is supposed to feel, money. Oh, go ahead. Yeah.
Like the thing that comes up for me is really like meeting you and being like, I'm 28 and being like, oh, you're like, I can't, I'm like, I still don't even see myself as a leader. Like I have this like imposter syndrome.
Yes.
Right. And I'm like, damn, like these are just these thoughts that I'm witnessing, but I'm like, damn, where did I not believe in myself to be doing something like forging something of my own, like volition and my own business, like Ginger,
well, you are doing
or just that. Exactly, dude.
You are. You have a podcast.
And you know what that fucking voice is? It is just literally like I've been doing this lately where I like to kind of characterize some of my inner critics. And, you know, the guy who says to me, you should have tried harder, or like you missed your chance. Like think about all the people who have been working on podcasting for years and you just started, or any number of things.
You characterize it like just like in your head, or do you characterize it as like this is probably from this person in my life? Because that's something too. Like there's a lot of things that you can do where you can almost connect like certain thoughts to like people in your life, you know, like people that have told you that or made you believe that. I feel like there's a lot of times where like I have in my business I work with one-on-one clients and I pretty much help them like take their ideas and like actually make it into a business, because it's really not that hard. Like, it's not that it's really like complicated. It's just like people get so overwhelmed by the fear and like the actual movement of doing it that they get so like they stop in their tracks, or they start and then they don't continue it because they don't feel like it's, you know, going somewhere, and they get lost in like everything else.
Yeah.
But it's just interesting because, yeah, like I work with a lot of my clients, and you know, I tell them that like a lot of their limiting beliefs and things that they, you know, like whatever resistance that they have around their business is from their parents, a lot of the times. And it's based around like how their parents, you know, kind of introduced working to them, or, you know, how they treated them when it comes to their jobs, or even if their parents had, like I had this client once who her parent like started a business like early on in his life, and like shit hit the fan really bad, and that belief kind of carried on into her, and it's like, oh well, my dad failed, so I'm gonna fail too, you know. And I'm like, that is not true, like, you know. So yeah, like definitely with limiting beliefs, I feel like the reality of it is that I really think limiting beliefs, your ego and your subconscious, like that's all kind of like one little realm, like in itself, because like your limiting beliefs essentially are things that you have convinced yourself of that are holding you back from like what you actually really want. So it's limiting you from getting to where you want to be. So in order to let go of those things, you first need to identify them, like you do, and kind of characterize them, maybe even connecting them to people in your life, and then reversing them, honestly, and like retraining your brain, reframing your brain like how you would a computer, you know. And that's why people use affirmations. I don't know when this like clicked with me, but it's like that is what people do that use those for. They're literally reprogramming their fucking brain.
Yeah, dude, I really think that that's a great reminder. I've heard a lot about like using the power of our theta state, which is like the state our brains are in from like 0 to 5 or something. And we're in theta state, which is just like sponge, just taking in. That's where like you're just soaking up the language that you hear around you as a kid, right? And we are in theta state right as we're falling asleep, and like right when we wake up. And like to literally in those times consciously say, turn on something. It doesn't even have to be like you look in the mirror to recite your 5-minute thing. You can go about your business giving your brain these things to internalize. And it's like, damn, like it's classic as I'm always coming and learning all this new shit, that what does my brain automatically do? I should have been doing this years ago.
So long ago, yeah.
I wish I would have been listening to affirmations as a kid, right? All these things run through my head. And it's so funny because it's like I'm so accustomed to expending my energy in that way, in the rumination, in the, it's probably going to take so long to start my to-do list. And it's like,
have you read The Power Now?
Yeah.
I was gonna say, like, that is like, I feel like such a good like starter book to like just all of this shit, because The Power Now is pretty much, like in a nutshell, it's pretty much like the present moment is all we really ever have. So like you even doing that, like, oh, it's gonna take so long, like you're thinking all the way in the future, or you know, you're thinking about, you know, when you're thinking about, I wish I started this later, like sooner, I wish I started this when I was 5, like you're thinking all the way in the fucking past, like, you know what I mean, like you can't do or act anywhere other than now, you know. And like even when you think back to moments that you had an epiphany or like something really exciting happened, like when you were there in that moment, you were now, like, you know what I mean, you weren't it's, you know. Also, oh my god, this is such a weird concept, but I don't know if, I hope this makes sense. You know, when you have that like either like deja vu, or like you get like that almost like, I feel like I've been here before, like kind of like remembrance, either like deja vu, or like you get like that almost like, I feel like I've been here before, like kind of like remembrance kind of thing. I almost feel like that is when you're thinking, okay, you know how like time is like pretty much like not real. I have this theory that like when you do that, it's your future self like thinking of that moment. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
And it's like almost giving you this like weird chilling like what the fuck? Like why have I thought of this? Like why have I been here before?
That's really cool. It's right in line with this thing that I really want to give more time to. It's this idea of like sending your past, like in your mind, like hugging your past self, like pinpointing a moment and just like giving yourself the love that you needed in that moment. And like to be doing that regularly, so much so that then in today's moment, in the now moment, you can
You're
feel
healed.
your future self hugging you from the future.
Mm.
Because you, as your own future self to your past self, are hugging them.
Yes.
Like that's fucking time travel, dude. Like
Dude,
that is just
I
like
completely agree.
and that
I
is
don't know if
kind of
you're
just
into
like
Marvel at all. Have you watched
eh,
any? Okay, so I recently only got into Marvel. Like I was not a movie person,
okay.
but I think they really highlight a lot of the reality that like so they talk about multiple realities a lot
Yeah.
about how the fact like because there's basically something that happens where like they open the reality like the new Spider-Man like I don't know if you saw anything about that but basically all three Spider-Mans were in it because they built this concept that like there's multiple realities of every single thing that's ever happened so there's different timelines and things that it's just such a cool thing but either way like yeah time and just like time travel they have like this whole theory that like there's this like place called the TVA and they like are in charge of time to make sure that like nobody goes off the sacred timeline and it's really interesting because it's like is that like I don't know it's just like there are moments where it's like if I didn't make this decision like shit would completely be different like you know what I mean and I'm very much on the fact that like everything happens for a reason and like the universe is making sure that things happen the way that they're supposed to or whatever but yeah it's just like weird to think about like turning point moments. Okay.
Yeah, I think that kind of leads into like thinking about pinpointing those moments of our lives. Like I'm interested if there's a couple of those moments, whether it be in your spiritual journey, whether it even be like a recognition of something like in your childhood. Because yeah, like one of mine was just like this recognition in high school when I started smoking weed with my friends and freestyling, where kind of, especially with hindsight, I can see that was, I dove headfirst into that. I just like, and I can see that it was the first taste I ever had of creating and being in charge of a community. And it was intimacy that I had never really experienced. We didn't have the internet on our phones yet.
Right.
Like we were just together for hours because we couldn't smoke at home. So we just had to be together so much. And now I realize like, I thought I just wanted to get high and have fun. And I did, right? But like that paved me being like, I'm not really gonna find what I'm looking for in class or like in the
that's such a good point.
in the bigger groups. I'm like, I have to go find it and create it. And that is a manifestation of what this podcast is. I now can say, hey, I have something to invite you to. Because I just want to commune with people. Like, and so when I had a blunt rolled, it was the same thing. Come smoke with me. Let's hang out. I got this. Like, I got you. Like,
I think stoners are like that naturally. Like, so the first thing that comes to my head. So I'm gonna use a business turning point.
Yes,
moment,
please.
And like a life turning point moment. So for my business, so in the field of marketing, so like I'm like I would put
real quick, can you give us just a quick like, hey Ginger, what's your business?
Yeah, so my business, it's called The Divine Social.
Cool.
It started as a social media management, and I was doing like social media stuff. Like I was just really good at social media shit. Like I just was very techie in that way. So started
Like
managing accounts.
what?
Like
What do you mean?
so I knew okay, so the reason I knew was because in high school I started an anonymous Twitter account called Subtweet Slut. I thought it was the best idea I ever did. Basically,
Mhm.
like when everybody used to subtweet people,
Yeah.
I was like, you know what? I'm gonna make an account just for subtweets, so y'all gotta tweet it yourself and make start fights. You just gotta retweet it. You know what I mean? It's a lot easier. And I thought that was so smart. Anyway, I was in ninth grade, like you know what I mean? I'm 15 years old,
Yeah.
tweeting shit. I racked up like 30,000 followers on that, and I don't know if it was just like I just
Wow,
knew what I was
interesting.
doing, and I didn't know
Yeah.
really how I knew, but I just knew. So and I really liked Instagram, like, growing up, like, I had fun, like, I just liked editing pictures, I liked curating things, like, I liked that kind of stuff and, like, making connections, like, I don't know, whatever. So, knew I was good at Instagram. I started managing the Instagram at the restaurant that I was working at as a hostess, and then that kind of sparked me into, like, the marketing aspect of social media, and then, like, social media management, like, blew up, I would say, in, like, 2019, 2020.
Yeah.
And I was just like doing like random side gigs and like local stuff in the very beginning. And then I had this turning point moment where I was like, I don't want to work with businesses. Like, I don't want to work with I was working with like a pool company, like a, steakhouse. I was
Huh.
like, I want to work with bitches like me, bro. Like, I want to work with
Yeah.
people like me. I want to work with people that I actually like feel like I don't have to be this like fake professional person. Like, I can just be myself and like we can, because you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, I mean, it harkens back to kind of that same type of authenticity that you found with Subtweet Slut.
yes,
It's
yes.
just like you were interacting with people like you. Like,
Exactly. Yes,
what a
literally. So,
formative experience. So yeah, cool.
yeah, so basically in 2021, I started making TikToks and I pretty much went on there and I was just like, "Hey, like I'm starting social media consulting," cuz I was like, a small business owner isn't going to be able to afford to like hire me as a social media manager, but I can get on a call for like an hour and like strategize and help them and like give them a plan of
Mm,
action, and that's where my business started. So I started doing that in April and I've literally been full time since then. Like I've been able to work from home. Like I have my own
wow.
business. Like so now I do a lot more like brand designing. So I do like logo concepts and like helping people kind of bring the ideas into a visual. And also helping them like with their ideas and like formulating them and like bringing them to fruition. So it could be like more of like a visual like brand concept or more of just like accountability and helping that person like
Cool.
whatever. So yeah, so like that's kind of how my business blew up. But yeah, like the turning point for me specifically was yeah, I wanted to work with people around my age, but I realized that there was no representation of smokers in any business thing. Like I felt like it was
Mm,
just like, so everybody just drinks wine, nobody fucking smokes a blunt after, like, what the fuck's going on? Like I was like, where are my people?
yeah.
So I took a leap of faith and I was really nervous because I remember like my dad and my mom, even though they both are like, my mom smokes, like they're all in that like shit. It's not like they're like against it, but they're like, don't bring it into the business. Like don't,
Yeah,
don't
of
mix it. And
course,
I was like,
right?
great.
Yeah.
So I'm like, you know what? Fuck that. I want to work with stoners. Like, I don't give a fuck. Like, this is stupid. Like, I'm not about to, because I remember when I worked in the restaurant, had to fucking cover my tattoos, had to flip up my septum ring. Like, I was like, I'm running my own business. Like, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. This is my
Mhm.
shit. Like, let me do what I want to do. So I remember I made a TikTok, and this was like one of the first ones that blew up for me. And it was like, it's like this whole time I've been trying to find like my ideal audience, and I realized it's just like stoner bitches that like want to smoke weed and work from home, and that like blew up my business in the very beginning. Like
Bro,
that was it.
that's perfect. That's like, yeah, you're like,
It
how
was like,
can
oh, how
I
did I?
send out a beacon?
Yeah, and
I
and
mean,
you know what?
truly.
Like smoking, like I always like you go to any party, you go anywhere, like if there's weed and you're a stoner, you feel so much better immediately. You're like, oh, all right, let me go hang out with the stoners. You know what I mean? Like you're
Mhm.
gonna like for me personally, like that was me. Like like if I'm at a party, I'm the bitch outside smoking, or
Yeah.
I'm like making friends with like the stoner people that are there because it's just like it just feels more. I don't know. It just always felt more natural, and I always felt like those were always my people. So I was like, okay, like let me use that in a marketing perspective. And I also feel like what has helped me so much in my business is the fact that it doesn't have to be so businessy. Like, I come at business and I approach, working and my career as such a like a communal opportunity, like a networking thing. Like, I can just literally talk to anybody, and then it just so happens that like they need my help with doing something, like, because a lot of people want to work for themselves, and I knew that too, and I was able to figure it out so quickly. So I was like, let me just fucking help people do the same thing, and yeah, so I've gained, like, and also too, like, yeah, I've learned everything that I know just from fucking doing. Like, I didn't take, like, I had like one marketing class in college, but like it wasn't like I'm applying these lessons. Like,
Right.
I just like just knew what I knew, and I just like sent it,
Totally. Wow. Hell yeah.
TikTok is so powerful. Like, seriously.
Yeah. Yeah, like you said, kind of, you're just like, let me just call out stoner bitches who have this idea that's possible. But like, if it's just exists out there, yeah, I bet so many people are like watching, being like, I wish I could.
Yep, they can. They all
Really,
and
dude.
so
Like,
many people sit on fucking beautiful ideas and concepts. Like, they're all just in their head or sitting in their notebook at home. And that is one of the things that shit, like it literally makes me want to cry. Like,
one of
that
my big
hurts.
things is like this idea, and it's like, we never really say it this simply, especially when it's something as big as like the dream of breaking free from a thing that you don't feel free from, whatever that may be, right? Where you're like, I have a fear that I will fail. And so
Always.
that fear becomes a barrier for me attempting, which means that I am failing.
Yeah.
So your fear of failing causes you
you
to
fail.
not try, causes you to fail. So it's just
That's
like,
very true.
and it's like, yeah, if you're not clear about what this fear is, because we're gonna jump in and fill it up and make it so much more about how we look, about what people will say, about all these ideas about, well, but if I want to do it on Instagram, my parents are on there, or my friends will judge me. How many people are, like you said, sitting on gold, sitting on real shit? I want to just mention, like, what I was like so happy to realize from TikTok when I realized that I had sent out a beacon and this video was blowing up, was me in my car crying, weeping, talking about, oh my God, like, there's been so much conditional love in my life, like, that I've given unknowingly, that I'd received. And like, bro, that was a beacon for the emotional, lovely, amazing humans who are just trying to figure out how we can heal from fucked up shit, not bring our fucked up shit to other people. And it's like, I mean, it is funny to be like, wow, this many views makes me think about the message that I said differently a little bit. It makes me kind of more like, yeah, that was wise of me. Or like, or even like, yeah, there are a lot of stoner bitches who like vibe with my vibe. And it's like,
yeah, you think I watch my videos over again, and I actually try to like hear it from like, not as like as if it's not me.
Yeah.
And I'm like, does this hit? Like, do I resonate with this? And I don't know. Something that I've realized specifically with TikTok is the power of speaking things out and talking about it, actually.
Yeah.
And I think I made a TikTok about this too. Also, because I have 2 TikTok accounts. I'm not sure which one you found me from.
I think just Ginger.
Yeah. So, okay. So I have my Ginger Marie account. It's funny because I just started that one like a month ago because I wanted to test my TikTok guide that I made for like from my actual account, because my other account has 50K or so. So, but like my following on there is so amazing.
This is really interesting. If I had found a 50K account, I don't think I would have hit you up.
I know. Isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
Like, numbers,
right? Not that I would perceive, but I would just be like,
she's never gonna answer me.
Yeah, just that idea of seeing that this one had like 1,100 or something.
Yeah.
I was like, cool, like this person maybe checks their DMs more.
No,
or like
you know
would
what I
be
mean?
more
Like,
open. I do kind of like pre-reject out based off of these numbers. And it's like, yeah, I even started to feel like I have 13K, like woohoo. And it even
yeah,
feels like, but at the same time, I'm like, I'm still checking all my shit. Like this isn't
same.
some big type of thing, really.
I agree. And you know
Yeah.
what? I think a lot of people, because also too, I got fucking attacked on TikTok once, and it was very traumatic, and it brought up a
Damn.
lot of shit for me. But it made me just like really think about like the numbers of everything, and just like,
Mhm.
you know what I mean? Like, numbers don't matter. Like, they
I
really,
mean,
really fucking don't.
especially like, yeah, how does that play into anything you do? Because it's like numbers exist in this world, right?
Exactly, yeah. So I talk a lot about how important it is to not get lost in those things, because it's not what's important. The most important thing is your community. And I actually just made a video about this, I think, earlier. But basically, I've created or came up with something really, like, a marketing concept that I think is really easy for people to understand, especially for influencers, people that are like building personal brands, is this idea of personality marketing, where, you are looking to get your name out there and connect with people on a personal level
Hmm.
first, and really build that connection and that community and have people get to know you. And then your business just like is there. It's like, you know what I mean? It doesn't have to be like separate, like, you know what I mean? Like, a lot of people work with me and like end up booking with me or whatever, because they're like, "Oh, I'm a fucking huge Mac Miller fan too, bitch. Like, I love Mac Miller, like whatever." And they just like end up
Hell
wanting to
yeah.
work with me, or we both smoke. Like, we can get on a call and like, talk about business, but we can also smoke and be casual, and it feels so much better than like getting on a call with like a fucking, I don't know, a business like bro marketing dude. You know what I mean?
Hmm. Yeah.
So it's like taking this like super humanized way approach to business and like all that stuff, and just like thinking of it as like, what can I put out into the world that I feel like is missing? Like, that's all I really am trying to do. Like, a lot of my, and like, oh, it sucks because the community online, like, people I think don't, like, I don't know, there's such this weird thing around entrepreneurship sometimes for people that like aren't in it, because it almost seems too good to be true, or I don't know,
Yeah.
just like there's so many
Yeah.
people that have weird opinions about it. And um because of that, people look at something like what I do and they're like literally I got attacked pretty much, people calling me a scam and saying that I'm like ripping people ripping people off and like selling them fake dreams of like working for yourself. And I'm like, you call me a scam, but you're literally in the biggest scam of America. Like, like, this whole country is just like built on bullshit, in my opinion. So I don't know how deep we want to go into this right now, but
Yeah. Yeah.
either way, all I'm saying is that community building and all that shit is so much more important than the numbers and stuff, because people get so lost in that shit. And I have some clients that really get wrapped up in like the unfollows and like all of those things. And I'm like,
Mm.
those people were not going to buy from you anyway. Like, they're not a loss at all. Um, so yeah, it's very interesting how much the numbers can like influence us. And like, you know, we have this like, yeah, like, that's so interesting that you probably wouldn't have hit me up if you had seen my like 50K account, which makes sense though. Like, it makes sense.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. I think in my own step into a little bit, like one of the things I started doing on TikTok was doing tarot readings. And that
same.
was like something that I was like, people will pay me for this. And then I just started to be like, I think I'm only doing this because this is a thing that people will pay for.
Mm,
Because what I was always doing was just freestyling, doing just like conversation style shit. And like,
yes.
and like I do love tarot and I've used it personally for a while. But yeah, so that's been interesting for me thinking about like the steps towards making some income off of my own creativity and then
Mm,
feeling like I don't want to just be doing the shit that has the dollar sign next to it. That's easy to just get the Venmo for a 10-minute reading. So I'm like, it's like, I really want to be able to like long form conversation is like my shit. And so I'm not feeling like I'm like like trying to climb to get money from my art at this moment, because I'm still not sure what I'm even trying to do. That's like my thing.
Listen, like that, and that's what a lot of people struggle with. But I definitely think that, so the first thing that I tell people, and because like of the internet, we see so much of like this, like work from home, like start your own business, like whatever. And people are like, oh, like, okay, what do you do? I'm gonna do that, or I'm gonna go, like, people just like see what other people are doing. They're like, all right, I'm gonna do that. That's exactly the opposite of what I did. You know what I mean? I felt like I was already kind of doing something, and I was like, all right, let me, like, you know what I mean? I kind of just like took my own approach to things. But specifically, what I think kept me like in the game for so long is that when you come at it as like, okay, let's make money, you're like, if you're solely doing things for the money, it is not going to play out. Like, it is not going to last. Like, you have to do something that's first aligned with like something that you're passionate about and allows you to have that, like, almost outlet to express those things that you're passionate about. And two, it has to be something that like you want to help people with, you know what I mean? Like, I genuinely want to help people bring their visions into life. I love helping people take their like ideas and like literally making them into a brand that you can visually see. Like, I love people like when they're like, oh my God, I'm getting so many compliments on my website, like whatever, like that shit I love, and the fact that I'm able to get paid for that is like literally insane. And yeah, I think detaching from the actual fact that I'm making money from it sometimes is like really helpful. And I also think too that like it's not like I'm making like $10,000 every month, or you know what I mean? Like, I'm definitely making money now, like a year in, like it's a lot more consistent and it's a lot more, stable. But in the very beginning, like I had no idea what was coming. Like, I kind of just like I had the stimulus check, and that was like like kept my mind quiet while I was trying to figure it out. But yeah, there were times where I did not have any clients. I was just like faking it kind of to like keep myself going. But like, that's where a lot of people get lost, because it's like, if they're not making the money initially, that's where they're like, this shit sucks. But that's why if you only are like focused on the money and the money doesn't come, you're going to give up. So if you can start something that you are focused on with a goal in mind and a passion in mind, and it's something you genuinely are like, I want to do this, like whether it makes money or not, essentially, that's what's going to really help you really actually help you make money.
I've kind of thought about this idea in terms of and I'm interested if this ever comes up in your coaching of really looking at scarcity mindset
all the fucking time.
Right. Yeah, I bet.
Scarcity versus abundance mindset is like the biggest thing. Like, I had this huge breakdown on my deck once at my old apartment, because I was stressed about money actually, and I was like, fuck, like I don't want to get a normal job, like I don't want to go back to that shit, like, and I was feeling this like scarcity of like not having enough, not having all these things and all that, whatever. And I'm sitting on my deck, and I remember I was like, literally like looked up, and I was like, you have everything you need, just like relax, like there's nothing happening to you in this moment that's like actually making, you know what I mean, like I'm okay, I'm sitting on my apartment, like I'm good, like just relax. And literally as I said that, I was like, my soul clients will come to me, like I'm gonna be fine, like everything's gonna be fine. As that happened, I was messaging this girl who is still now one of my recurring clients, who pays me like $800 every single month. Like, she's one of my like stable clients. Like, I literally got that client like as soon as I said that to myself, like out loud. And like, I did her whole branding, I did her website, and now like I'm pretty much like her marketing assistant. So it's like I work with her every month. But I like just that shift of like, always feeling you don't have enough, to like you genuinely have everything you need, and like not like always feeling like you want more, is gonna help you so much. Because there's so many people that are stuck in this like scarcity idea and like mindset of like, what if I don't have this, or like what if this doesn't happen, or I have to, all these things like of just like not having enough, like that, like needing for more. It just like always causes you to have less, you know what I mean, thinking of all the things that you don't have instead of focusing on all the things that you do. Is just that mindset switch, and that shit changed so much for me. Like my mindset in general, like that has helped me like achieve so much more just from, you know, believing things and like having way more belief.
Here's the thing is like, as I think about this, I see the way that one of the things for me that I haven't really done anything about, but this idea of like, when I'm finding myself in like a pattern of being like, fuck, I'm like stressed about my bills or my fucking student loan debt. And then I'm like, okay, like what wallets do I have open? Meaning like where if people were going to, it's like the thing that has to happen is you have to believe you're worthy of having the open door that says, come to me.
Yeah, that too. Yeah.
It's like,
you
if
can't
I
sell
never
you
believe
can't
in,
sell a fucking secret.
you can't sell a thing that you don't believe you, right? Yeah, exactly. Where it's like, and I'm kind of like, that's kind of how I'm thinking about like even just the podcast. And like I have, you know, like 20 or so monthly listeners. And that's like vibes to me because I don't really care about that. But I'm like, okay, let's say one of my listeners wanted to fucking donate.
Yeah,
do I have a
have
button they could press?
Yeah,
like
exactly.
I need to open up that stuff, open my hands to the universe to say I am worthy of abundance.
Exactly.
But
No,
I gotta have somewhere to put it
true.
first. Bro, that's such a shift for me, dude.
Yeah, no, for real. Like I like people will have everything ready. Like they don't have like they're good to go. And I'm like, okay, fucking go tell people now. Like you got to go tell people. Like, you know, we can have all these things. We can have a business, we can have a podcast, we can have all these things. But if you don't fucking tell anybody, is it even worth it?
Dude,
Like, you know what I mean?
That's my thing is I record
like,
this
what's the point?
and then I feel like probably no one really wants to listen anyway.
Don't
and I don't post about it. I barely even put it on my stories, dude. I know. I like get in
whenever you think something like that, you have to post it. I swear, like make that a rule. Like whenever you're like, oh, I don't think anyone's gonna care. Literally be like, you know what? Let's fucking see, and just post that shit. Because there's so many videos that I've been like, like maybe, and then as soon as I do that to myself, I'm like, you know what? Just fucking post it because this is probably the one that'll fucking blow up, and I'll be so mad that I didn't like post it. You know what I mean? And usually, yeah, like also too, I think sometimes we overthink like. On TikTok specifically, you know, maybe it's like a really long talking video. You're like, who's gonna listen to the whole thing? Oh, like, you know what I mean? Like,
motherfuckers be listening.
Yeah, motherfuckers be listening. And like, if you don't post it, like you're never like you are just telling yourself that, right? Like, and it might be because you know what? I check myself a lot too because I'm like, I have to watch somebody else's whole video. You know what I mean? It's almost like that, like. Social karma. I don't know how to explain. But like I'll scroll on TikTok and I'm like halfway through a video, I'm like, damn, my attention span is fucking so short, you know? But like I also know that there are videos that I will sit there and listen to, you know, because I really like the way that somebody talks about something or whatever. So it's just interesting because there's times where I'm just like, no, I can't do that whole talking thing.
Yeah.
But also just because community's on the screen, I also started a community too because I realized in the space of entrepreneurship is if you don't have a community or a circle of people to encourage you with your shit in the very beginning, it's going to be so hard to keep going because most of the times you have friends, you have family who will never understand what you do, will never understand what you're trying to do, and will really kind of discourage you on your way. So I pretty much created the Divine Dimension, which is like my membership thing where it's going to be like a 6-month long experience with like a bunch of girls who are literally all in the same boat. Like we're all trying to like be entrepreneurs and start our own business and like work for ourselves and create something for ourselves. But it gives you that accountability. It gives you that community to like lean on and like also, you know, learn from. And not only that, like everybody's going to host their own workshop, like at the end. which is going to be
That's
super exciting
boss.
to kind of have people to like get out of their comfort zone, you know? But yeah, I'm going to like teach a like entrepreneur like masterclass on something every month with with also like group coaching. So basically getting on and like working through things with people, because there's so many things that people need help with. And I'm like, dude, it's just, you got to just do this. You know what I mean? Like people just get tripped up
Yeah,
over so
yeah.
many little things, with like perfectionism and all that shit.
Yeah, I think once again, it's literally you saying, "Hey, we all looking for community." It's like,
Mm-hmm.
well, where do we gather on like a random Zoom call where it's like we have to, and I see like we have to initiate shit. Like
Yeah.
people are gonna find each other
Yes.
because we made a space where they can meet.
Exactly.
Swear.
Like we need to make actions. Yeah, like that's the most important thing.
Yeah.
Like knowledge without action and like implementation is literally fucking useless.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, so I think it's just about, like you said, and like, I mean, like you've been saying, how you're finding your people and finding the people who are like, whoa, someone like Ginger exists.
Mm-hmm.
Like that inspires me because like I only ever saw somebody doing something this other way, which
Yes.
made me
Yes.
not think it was my wheelhouse, right?
Mm-hmm.
Same here.
Exactly.
Like I'm just like, people don't know what they don't know, and like, yeah, like we're doing our own unique thing. And so it's like, and
With that
I'm talking to myself. I don't need to be the getting in my way guy anymore.
oh my God. Yeah,
That's
exactly. Like
just, if I can do
that shit
that, I'll be
pissed me
fine.
off. Yeah,
Yeah.
like when I genuinely realized, I was like, so the only reason I'm not doing anything is because of my fucking self. Like that just sounds so stupid, you know? Like it just sounds so like, okay, well just get out of your own way, you know? And it's like, how do you do that? And it really is hard. Um, but yeah, it's definitely that the first part of it is just like that awareness of like, wow, like I am the biggest like roadblock in my way because I keep telling myself all this bullshit that's not true.
And it's
And
not
that,
because of me,
yeah,
it's because of this bullshit.
yeah, the limiting beliefs. Yep,
And that's not who we are. That's
exactly.
shit that's been injected to us by some external fucking
So
patriarchy type vibe. Like,
it's that
fuck.
red pill or the blue
Swear.
pill.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah.
For
Awesome.
real,
Well,
for real.
I'm super inspired by you, and it's just like we all have like the ability to be authentic
Mhm.
and let that shine in whatever, wherever, on the internet, at the fucking park, wherever, like, and
Mhm.
we're like, it's, I think it's just like, you stood out to me
Yeah,
in
like
your
I wonder
one
why.
fucking
Like,
video. Like it stood out, and it just like, whether it was the words you wrote or just whatever,
mhm.
I was like, there's, I
Yeah,
mean, I
like
think it
just
kind of, it addressed my own, I think, limiting beliefs in a way about
hell
like,
yeah.
how can I build my life, you know?
Mhm.
Even
Mhm.
back to like me always looking at my stonerness as a negative part of
No, oh my
me
God,
because I was
never
in
do.
school and my mom hated it and my girlfriend hated it and all this stuff. And
Mhm.
like,
Yep.
to be like, I don't have to run away with it. I don't also have to be like binging on it at every moment,
Oh,
every
that
single
true, like
thing.
when
Like,
you
it's
take your
just,
true self, yeah, like connecting to your true self and being like, yep, there it
and
is.
literally, like, the message that got into my brain was, it doesn't have to be a mindless escape, because
Mhm.
I always was like I said before, well, I'm going to go choose my stoner friends rather than sit in study hall or do my
Mhm.
homework or blah blah blah, but whatever other options. And like now it's like my life is richer. There's not as much bullshit pressed on me, even
Mhm.
though there still is a lot. And I can be intentional with my shit. I mean,
Hell
you
yeah.
know this. And yeah, that's exactly what we can do to everything we fucking do.
Yeah.
instead of feeling like we're stuck or some shit.
Yeah, and even to the sense that, like, that one video that I made, like, inspired you, like, all the things that we do and choose to put out into the world when it scares us, the videos, the little videos that we're like, "Oh, maybe whatever," those could inspire somebody, you know? And
Yeah.
the one thing that I tell people to help with imposter syndrome and having that, like, limiting belief is to think of if you could inspire one person with something that you make, just one, because when we think of the numbers, we get so wrapped up in like, oh,
Mm.
only 5 likes or whatever. But it's like, if one person resonated with that, like you could change their life. Like they could have made the decision to like go and do something because you made a video or,
Yeah. Yeah.
and like
Totally.
it's that ripple effect. Like, I could inspire someone to do something and then that person inspire somebody to do something else. Like, you know what I mean? So it's like when you follow out your true passions and the things that you're meant to do, like there is a huge like impact that you can make on the world on a level that we might not ever really see. And it's like just not forgetting that and like not getting wrapped up in the numbers, like thinking of the actual tangible things in somebody's life that are like that shit's immeasurable, like so yeah. I'm glad you found me
Yeah.
on TikTok though.
Me too. Me too.
Yeah. So anyone listening, post your content. You never know.
Swear it's just, yeah, like it's hard to when you're thinking of why you don't want to post, it's hard to think of all the reasons why you should, because those seem like cloudy and it's hard to pinpoint what could be. It's easy to pinpoint what could be wrong.
Yes. Oh my god.
So I want to be respectful of your time. And the way we end is you shout out the listeners and give them one quick tidbit of life advice. I know that's what the whole podcast has been.
I was like, we just gave a lot of advice.
I know. A final blurb.
Okay. My final blurb is that whatever you got bullied for as a kid is probably the best thing for you to readdress in your actual adult life. Because I swear, like I used to make YouTube videos and I used to get fucking bullied for that shit. And now like that I've let go of that like childhood trauma or whatever the fuck of that bullying, of that whatever, I've been able to literally connect and be with and do the things that I've always wanted to do. So whatever it is that you got bullied for as a kid, like you need to bring that shit back.
Bring that shit back. That's awesome. And now here you are back on YouTube.
Hell yeah. Exactly.
Awesome. Thank you, Ginger.
Yes, thanks for having me.
You're so welcome.
We'll have to do something again. We'll have to do like a little series. But yeah, definitely let me know because my audience will love this shit too for sure.
Awesome. Love to hear it.
But yeah, I'll definitely talk to you soon. We're connected on Instagram, so but yeah.
Cool.
So I just leave, I guess.
Much love. Yeah, thank you. Talk to you later.
Peace out.
Bye. That was Ginger Sherry, everybody. Thank you for tuning in. We're going to close with a freestyle. Hope you enjoy. Much love. Never stop learning. Bye.
So you know what we can choose to do? In fact, my friends, I can choose something better. And I can choose to take a stand. And I can choose myself. I can choose my love. I've been feeling like I do not really know who I am sometimes, but I've been just building up lots of vibes, building up my whole damn life. I've been taking some days off. I've been learning and exploring. That's not a day off. Get it out of my head that a day off is me spending time to myself. I know that all that I'm given is not the inherent truth of my life. In fact, it's probably not quite the reality I'm telling you. All of these things that we see, all of these things we're told we can be. We can be so much more. We can learn that we don't have no limits. but they don't want us knowing how fast we could overtake this world if we could laugh at the people. We could see that we all actually deep underneath love each other, but we get distracted and we sit and watch lots of propaganda, baby. So we think that this is normal life. Oh, baby, this ain't normal, baby. If you think it's normal, then you fucking crazy. This is something healthy. This is so exploratory. I'm just ready to settle in now. And we just have to settle in the shit. We just have to think about all the things that we could build with collective energy. Together, don't you see? Light, love, and abundance is the shit that we need. Oh, if I needed you, actually, bitch, I do. Come on, we are not separate. I see me in you, girl. Ooh. Ooh, oh no, we don't have to go where we're told. No, we are like love. We are like love. You can come home, baby. Give me that hug. Give me that hug. I love you guys.